Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. Remember, viewers, you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen, on the side of your screen as well. Do remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, mention that name as well, along with the buy price, the quantity that you're holding, as well as your time horizon, given the fact that with your time horizon, we will be able to guide you better and take your query to our right set of analysts. We have Sharmila Joshi who's joining us on the fundamentals, who will take your medium to short, long-term queries. And on the technicals, we have Osho Krishan joining us on the show, who will take your short to medium-term queries that is based on the chart. So let's get started with all the queries that are already pouring in. Very good morning to you, Sharmila and Osho. Let me start the query. The first one, this is coming in from Ignatius, and he has about 100 shares of HDFC Bank, which he's purchased at 1,430 rupees per share. He's saying that is it okay to sell 50 stocks of HDFC Bank, 50 shares of HDFC Bank, and invest the same either in Polycab, Trent or Siemens, or does it make sense to rather just make fresh investment in all of them? What's your take on this, Sharmila? Does it make sense to partially book out of HDFC Bank, put that money in these three stocks, or keep HDFC Bank the way it is and invest in all these three counters irrespective?
Second option. Of course, it all really depends on what kind of a time horizon the investor is looking at, because I'm extremely positive on HDFC Bank in the long term. But we are seeing currently that the entire banking sector, as well as microfinance, they're going through some kind of issues at the current moment, and I think that it will be a couple of quarters before we really start seeing this sector perform again. So that said, HDFC Bank also has issues of its own, because it merged and now it is a global. It is among the top ranked banks globally. So they have a long way to go, and I think for them that journey has just started. And you need to give this stock at least another couple of years before you really take any decision on that. Which is why I said, the time horizon that you had in mind matters more than whether you should, invest new or partially go. So my advice would definitely be that you hold what you have in HDFC Bank, and if you want to buy another stock, then make a fresh investment in that. And out of the three stocks that you mentioned, I think other than Polycab, I like the other two.
The take coming in as far as HDFC Bank is concerned. Good morning, Osho, as well as Sharmila. Sharmila, I wanted to come to you with the next query, in fact, because we have Bharatwaj writing to us from Coimbatore, wants to know about NTPC Green at the current market price. For the longer term, that is what he's looking at in terms of the time horizon then. But what do you have in mind for this counter then?
Well, I think, you should definitely hold on to this. And my advice is really less to do with NTPC Green and more to do with the sector that it's in. Because, I think that at different sort of levels when markets, in different years, markets sort of pick on certain themes. So for a while back, maybe, everybody was very gung-ho about electric vehicles. Then you had pharma going through its whole phase. Of late, what I've seen is that there is a lot of interest in green energy, in renewable energy and themes like that. And this is not just in the domestic context, but I think, from an international context, we're seeing a lot of attention and investor attention going to this sector. And we witnessed in our context that all the stocks that are making moves in this direction and who are talking of projects and schemes which are in this renewable green space, we are seeing those stocks move up, and which is why I think you should just stay put with NTPC Green, because I think that these stocks are just these ideas are just beginning to gather momentum.
Has to buy right now, then makes sense, right? Then Sharmila.
Yes.
All right. So it is a thumbs up coming in from Sharmila for NTPC Green. Let me take this next one. It's coming in from Simran Soni, who's a long-term investor, but wants to know whether she can go ahead and buy Cipla right now or any other pharma stock. What's your take on this one, Osho? You've been waiting for a while. What's your take? Cipla or any other pharma counter?
Very good morning, everyone, firstly. And then looking at the overall pharma sector, then in the previous quarter or the previous calendar year, we have seen a very significant development in the whole pharma and healthcare sector. And overall, the sector is still looking bullish. So I'm expecting that in the coming period, it is having a potential to even witness a decent performance. So I will be saying that Cipla at present levels, it is hovering at a very strong support of nearly 1420. So one can definitely try to accumulate this counter. But other than Cipla, a majority of the counters like Biocon is also looking very positive to me. So one can definitely try to diversify among the healthcare sectors and the pharma sector. So Cipla, Biocon, and Lupin, these three counters are looking very positive at current levels to invest from short to medium term time frame.
Those are Osho's three bets coming in from the pharma space. Sharmila, I'll come right back to you because we do have Navendu Sharma writing to us from Bihar, wants to know about LIC. 50 shares, buy price is 898 rupees, not too far from the current market price, but what do you make of this then?
Well, the numbers have been good and the valuations also seem reasonable. The stock has been a bit of a disappointment from the time it listed. That said, I'm positive on the sector. And as I said, the numbers have been good, valuations look reasonable. So I think for now, it's a hold.
All right, let me take this next one then. And this query is coming in from Nagakumar, who wants to know about fertilizer stocks for a period of about 2 to 3 years. Coromandel as well as Chambal Fertilizers. Sharmila, what's your view on both of these? Are these good stocks to be invested in? And also, fertilizer as a pack, does it make sense to be invested in this one also?
It is a seasonal sort of a sector to be in. And, we always see that when we have monsoons around the corner and when we have data that monsoon is going to be normal, or when all that talk starts, then this sector sort of starts showing activity. That said, it is a sector that I like, and within that sector, I think both these are reasonable stocks. So if you're a long-term investor, I think you can definitely go ahead.
All right, then that's a take coming in. As far as some of those fertilizer names then are concerned, Osho, I'll come right back to you because we do also have Jay Krishnan writing to us from Kerala, wants to know about Godrej Properties. 2,659 is his buy price. Hasn't mentioned how many stocks he's purchased, but what do you make of it nonetheless?
Reality sector is into a corrective phase as of now, and we are witnessing a deep correction in the whole reality space. So there can be some kind of further continuation on the downward trend for these counters. But overall, looking at the technical perspective of Godrej Properties, then it is having a support zone around the zone of 2100. So I'm expecting that downside is limited in this counter for the time being. So definitely one can try to hold to their investment. Already the prices of the buying is already at a higher zone. So it will take patience to again cover up the whole, or to have a very strong pullback. But I am expecting that on the downside, there is approximately 150 to 180 kind of a downside in Godrej Properties. After that, there can be some certain pullback that can be seen. But on the higher end, again, 2600 is the resistance for short-term perspective. If it breaches above 2600, then only we can see some momentum coming on the buying.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Godrej Properties. The next one is coming in on from Komal, who's writing to us from Shillong. Has 5,000 shares of Vedanta at a price of around 489 rupees per share for the longer term. Wants to know whether it makes sense to buy some more at current price. What's your take coming on this one, Osho?
Overall, this counter is into a very strong momentum. Overall, the broader time frame structure is positive, but at current levels, to average out this counter won't be advisable. It's better to wait either some kind of further correction towards the zone of 400, which is the historical support which was seen in the month of August 24, or if it starts having a very strong pullback, then one should try to accumulate it above the zone of 500. At current levels, it's better to avoid averaging this count.
And that's a take coming in as far as Vedanta then is concerned. Tell you what, Sharmila, I'll come right back to you because we do have a long-term investor who's written to us, hasn't mentioned their name, but wants to invest a lump sum of 1 lakh rupees in 4 stocks. So the ones that he or she is keeping on their radar is M&M, Hero Moto, Uno Minda, as well as HUL. What do you think of this?
Interesting. So out of those 4 stocks, 3 are sort of auto and one is an auto ancillary, and then you have an FMCG. I think it's a great idea. All the 4 stocks within mentioned are stocks that I like. My only advice would be to sort of stagger your buying and don't buy everything together, because we are seeing sort of markets in a little bit of a volatile move. So to my mind, the next month will give us a very good opportunity to make fresh investments. So make use of that opportunity, and definitely I think that all the 4 stocks that we have chosen are very good from a longer term perspective.
Absolutely. The next one that we have Osho is coming in from Thomas, writing to us from Kerala. In fact, wants to know about CG Power, bought 200 shares at a buy price of 750 rupees. What do you make of this one also?
See, again, the whole power energy sector is into some corrective phase as of now, but looking at the overall technical perspective, I'm expecting that on the downside, CG Power is having a strong support of 600, which was the swing low of the recent period. So I'm expecting that in the coming days, there can be a certain pullback that can be seen in this counter, but on the higher end, 700 is a very strong resistance for the same. So once it breaches the zone of 700, then only we can see some continuation on the higher end. So for the time being, 600 to 700 is the immediate range. One should try to buy on the dips and try to book their profits around the zone of 700.
This next one is coming from Tina. She has about 500 shares of BHEL at a price of 299 rupees per share. She wants to know what should be the strategy. Should she go ahead and average at current levels, look to exit? What's your take coming in on this one? Actually, Osho, I come to you. Though she's okay to hold on to this for the longer term, but this one also, along with the rest of the plays that saw a sharp rise, saw a sharp correction as well.
See, overall, this counter is into a corrective phase, hovering below the sloping trend line. So one should wait for the breakout of the sloping trend line, which will be approximately around the zone of 225 to 230. If it surpasses the zone of 230, then one can definitely try to accumulate or average on this counter for a medium to long term perspective. For shorter term duration, I'm expecting that it might hover within a range of 190 to 230 odd levels. So for short-term view, it can be seen in a consolidation sideways to bearish momentum, but once it breaches the zone of 230 on a decisive or sustainable manner, then definitely one can expect a decent surge in this counter from medium to long-term time frame.
All right, and that's a take coming in as far as BHEL then is concerned. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock-related queries, so don't go anywhere. Move on, let's continue taking all of your stock related queries. Then in fact the next one that we have is coming in from Vijay, who's writing to us also about ICICI Bank as well as Dr. Reddy's. Do you think he should buy at this point? What do you make of these two counters then?
See, for ICICI Bank, this counter have been into a decent corrective phase from the zone of 1350 towards 1200 now. So overall, the technical parameters have seen a very decent correction and it's now hovering towards the oversold terrain. So I'm expecting that in a very recent period, there can be a pullback that can be witnessed in this counter. So one can definitely try to accumulate ICICI Bank from here onwards for a immediate higher targets of nearly 1280 to 1300 from short-term perspective. The other counter was Dr. Reddy. So Dr. Reddy also is looking positive to me. It is hovering just near the 200-day simple moving average, but there is a possibility of further correction towards the zone of 1200 once it breaches the zone of 1250 towards the zone of 1200. So one should wait for either the counter to have a pullback or to consolidate near the current levels. If it happens over a period of time, one can definitely accumulate from short to medium term time frame.
All right, this next one is coming from Sudeep from Mumbai. And amongst the pharma and the CDMO players, which is the best option for the next 3 to 5 years? Sharmila, he's asking whether it's Sun Pharma, Glenmark, Natco or Granules or any other counter. Do you think it is best placed to play CDMO theme?
All these stocks are at different levels in the sense in terms of the size they are at. So I would always be in favor of Sun Pharma. And I think the other three were, one was Granules, one was Natco, and the third was?
Natco, Sun Pharma and Glenmark.
Glenmark. So I think probably between these two, I would have to say maybe Natco would be a good choice because at the current valuation. So the two stocks that you could look at could be Sun Pharma and Natco.
All right, so those are the two stocks that one can look at. Let me take this next query then. And the next query that I have is coming in from Rohit. He wants to know whether it's good time to buy or is it good to buy today HAL and Adani Ports or Britannia. What's your take on this actually, Osho? Because all three stocks from divergent fields.
Firstly, from the defense sector, HL is looking very positive. It's not looking very positive, but I mean that there is a kind of a reversal that can be seen on the technical parameters. So I'm expecting that there can be a strong pullback in this counter towards the zone of 4200 in the short-term time frame, because the technical parameters have already been into oversold terrain, and from there onwards we are witnessing a positive crossover, which is a positive sign for this counter in for the short term time frame. Now coming to Adani Ports again has been into a corrective phase, hovering near the 21-day exponential moving average, but historically there has been no evident or sustainability above the 20-day exponential moving average. So I would say better to stay sidelines from Adani Ports until it has a very strong sustainable move beyond the 20-day exponential moving average, which will be approximately 1165. Then only one can look to accumulate this counter from short to medium term time frame. Till that time, better to stay sidelines.
All right, then time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock-related queries, so don't go anywhere. With that, completely out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Thank you so much for tuning in.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.